Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is one that I've wanted to make for a very long time, but I've been hesitant. I honestly don't know how to preface it. Couple disclaimers. Don't hate on Greg. Don't hate on me. The whole point of this is to give you like an honest and
we're not those people anymore either.
Yeah. So a lot of people talk about our relationship and say, you know, like it's something they achieve. They want to achieve. Yeah, like hashtag couple goals, and that's not us. Like we could be, but it takes a lot of work. It's more than just what you see here now.
We are, but we aren't.
Yeah, there's a lot of history and a lot of hard work that went into this, and I'm very happy. I'm so happy that we got through it. And it's amazing, but like it's not something I would recommend to most people.
It was very heavy baggage to carry around for a long time.
Yeah, I honestly don't feel like a lot of people are capable of going through what we went through.
Nor should they have to suffer through it.
No one should really have to go through this, but like sometimes you really love someone and then they hurt you and you don't know what to do. Like they're, you know, that's life sometimes. But yeah, I feel like you guys have a good opinion about who Greg is now. If this is your first time on my channel,
pick a different video, please.
Yeah, go find another one about Greg and I. We have a couple about our early relationship, but I feel like you guys know him now enough to realize that the person I'm going to be talking about in this video is not the same. So
I mean, I don't recognize that person very much, so.
Yeah. But all right, before we go into the story, can you click subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this video. I'm not going to delete, like, constructive criticism, I guess, or things like that. But if you're just name-calling and being rude, I will delete and block. I don't care.
Hashtag be good people.
Yeah, be nice.
That's all.
Learn from this. That's really why I'm sharing it. So there's a couple things that we left out in our story, like from Williamsport and just our relationship prior to going to jail. And the important thing is that I cheated too. So, you know, Greg cheated on me, but I also cheated. I cheated twice and you cheated 3 times. I think we tried to remember. It's been so long. So these are not like, I don't know. It's not something that I think about ever. So it's hard to remember it.
They were such... For the destruction and negative impact that those events had, they were relatively meaningless.
Yeah, well, they were.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, like, the amount of damage that we would do over and over again,
at the time.
For nothing.
Yeah.
So, I want you guys to realize that, like, it was on both sides of the relationship. And when we went to jail, we were pretty much forced apart. Like, our families didn't want this, you know. He continued to stay in and out of trouble, and I went on the straight and narrow. So
you gotta rewind a little bit, though.
Well, where do you want to start?
You can start when we got together.
We've already covered that in videos.
How...
You cheated on me with Molly, the car accident.
Yeah,
the codependency. Yeah, we covered all that.
I didn't know if you wanted to recap it for the...
I don't really feel like it because this is going to be a long one. So I'm going to put an info card here and a link in the description. There is videos about our early relationship and the codependency and the cheating. So assuming that you've already watched that and you're just here for the ride, let's carry on.
Video?
Yes, you were. Not the codependency one. That one I did by myself. But then we did another one where we talked about the cheating and your lack of empathy and stuff like that. So I did cover it. We're good.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Okay, moving forward. I got married. I got married in 2011. I married the guy that was completely opposite of what Greg was. I married a Marine, and he had his shit together pretty much. But he decided he didn't want to re-enlist. He wanted to get out after his first, thing was over. Deployment? I don't know what it's called. No, not his deployment, but like his actual...
Tour.
No, like... it doesn't matter.
The contract of...
Yeah, pretty much like that. And he wanted to... His whole point in going in the Marines was to be able to get the GI Bill. So that's all he wanted. So he did one time, and then didn't re-enlist. And he needed that structure in his life. And I was so unaware of this. Like, I supported him getting out. I wanted him to re-enlist, but, like, I'm not going to tell him to do that because he has to go through deployment and, like...
It's not your decision.
Yeah, it's a very big commitment, so I respected his choice. The day he got out of the military, it was so quick. It all happened so fast. Like, he got released a little bit early, so we had to get out of our apartment because literally the day he's released, you have to they don't pay for anything anymore. So the housing allowance was gone and all this. So we spent Christmas in a hotel, and like a Motel 6, like it was nasty, with Ramona, and then we drove across the country the day after Christmas. Well, a couple hours into our drive, no, it was more than a couple. We got from California to Texas and got stopped at the Border Patrol. This might sound familiar if you've watched my earlier video. If not, I'll leave a card and a link in the description. But we got stopped by Border Patrol because he went the way I told him not to go that way. He went the southern route through Texas, and they had drug-sniffing dogs, and he got caught with weed. Like, literally
Texas is
12 hours after leaving the military. Like, what?
Lied to you, didn't listen to you, got you in a shit ton of trouble. Like,
went completely against what I said. Like, and at that point, I was not okay with that. I was 6 months away from completing my probation, like, or as parole at that point, because it was between states. But
yeah,
I was
he would
devastated.
Risk that. Yes.
I was devastated, and after that, it really, really, really affected our relationship. Before that, you know, it was just me and him, and we were out in California, and we did everything together, and I love him, but after that, like, it just, everything shifted, and he just became more like my roommate. I was hurt.
I think that happens to a lot of couples.
Yes.
A lot of people are just good roommates sometimes.
And
There's nothing wrong with that.
He didn't really understand that I needed him to invest in our relationship, so I got tired of it, and I stopped investing too. So he remained unemployed for like over a year after we got home, and I was the only one working, and had to live with his dad for a little. It was just a big mess. It was a big mess. Yeah. And
you were pretty unhappy in that situation.
I wasn't planning on leaving him, but then November 2013 happened. Now, I checked the inmate locator a lot. I checked on Greg a lot. And I checked on other people. I checked on Steven and when Brent, you know. But Greg, I check consistently. And I remember checking it once, and I was like, oh, it's coming, like, your release date was coming up soon, but it didn't have, like, an exact time frame, I think. I don't think it even had the release date.
I was waiting on my home plan to get okayed, and then because I was transferring out of state, I had to wait for the acceptance,
clearance,
I guess. Yeah.
So my sister one day sent me a screenshot, and it was an email from MySpace saying that he had checked in, and, like, my heart started pounding immediately, and I'm like, oh my god, he's out. Oh my god. So I ran home, and I checked the inmate locator, and it didn't have him as, you know, in anymore, and I was just like, oh my god, this is it. Oh my god. And, like, I searched for him, but, like, he didn't have a Facebook, you know?
When I went to prison, like, well, Facebook might have been a thing, but MySpace was still a thing when I, like, stopped dealing with the computer and was just doing my drug thing. Yeah. So MySpace was still relevant to me when I came home.
Yeah. So New Year's Eve, I was hanging out with my ex-husband and a couple friends and a mutual friend of ours, and he was like, have you talked to Greg? And I was like, no, I haven't. And it just was enough. I guess I had like a drink or two, and it was enough for me to get some liquid courage and text him. And we started talking, and it was like immediately, it was just like everything fell back into place, I guess. Like I knew right away that I was going to be with Greg.
Well,
no what
I was doing that night, if you care to hear it, was out with a guy I met in AA. We were at his house setting off fireworks, and I was having a good time. And when I got that text from you, like, I stopped paying attention to everything that was going on around me, and I was just like, really? It was a mix of, like, incredulity and just, like, I was very happy. Like,
I ended up going to bed early that night. I didn't even stay up for the ball drop, and I was just texting Greg the whole time, and
it was a high in and of itself, though.
Yeah.
Like,
and I told my ex, but, you know, obviously we were still married at that point. I told him the very next day, and he said,
you were talking to me.
Yeah. And he said, stop, and I said, no. I said, no, and I didn't say anything else. I didn't say that I, like, had the feelings, like, where I wanted to leave or anything like that. I just said, no, I'm not going to stop talking to him. And he asked for the ring back and left. Like that. Like, literally.
That's, like, it feels like, to me...
You didn't even try.
Yeah. It feels like he kind of either...
wanted a way out.
Wanted it? Yeah.
That's how it felt. But like a week or two later, he came back over and was like, wanted to talk about working things out. He's like, I think we should have a baby. I had wanted to have a baby earlier, and he didn't, and he said no to me. And now all of a sudden he's springing. I was like, a baby is not gonna fix this.
Don't. Too many people do it.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
Babies don't fix relationships. So
they're so hard.
Yeah. Our relationship got fixed at the same time that we had the baby, but the baby did not make that better.
No.
It made it very hard. But yeah, so my ex moved out. I had to take care of the entire place, paid all the bills, all this stuff.
I'm living in South Carolina at this time. Like, states and states and states away.
And I planned a trip for, like, middle of January. And it was amazing. No, it was the end of January. Middle.
It wasn't long before you came down.
And then I went back down again at the Super Bowl. And then, so I was making pretty regular trips to see Greg. And living alone, had my 2 dogs, only 2 at that point, and was paying all the bills. And I just knew that I didn't. It was like I had this chance, I had this chance to just do it, just go for it.
And I couldn't move up there.
Yeah.
Or I probably would have.
Yeah.
I had to finish out my parole.
And his mom really didn't want him up here either. And at that point, like, I understood. And I guess things started to get in the works pretty quickly about me moving down there. Like, we have never taken things slowly. Not the first time, not the second time.
The first day I met you, it was like days later I moved in with you?
Yeah, no,
first time?
like literally like 2 days later. But so at this point, I was in PA alone, and Scott had kind of come back into my life, and he did not know I was divorced, so he said, but it just was like
Joey just disappeared.
Yeah, well, he didn't know. He didn't know I lived an hour away from everybody.
But he knew you got married.
Yeah, he knew I was married, and I hadn't really changed much on my Facebook or anything. I didn't post a big post or tell everybody, and I lived an hour away from my family, so I didn't. So we started messaging each other and hanging out. So, like, Scott has always been a friend of mine, and I viewed him as non-threatening. Like, he had one time before had mentioned that he had feelings for me, or interest, and that was like a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's something I kind of always knew, but, like, I viewed him as a friend, so I guess I thought it wasn't threatening.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. And I would hang out with Scott. I told you about it at first.
When I knew things were wrong, you ghosted me for, like, 2 weeks right before you were supposed to come down. Like, I had gotten a house. I spent, like, $2,000 on getting a place for us and, like, setting up everything for the move. And, like, everything was great. And then all of a sudden, like, you just kind of was like...
I was having fun with Scott, and I felt terrible about it. And I remember I invited Greg back up to PA to go to this one show. It was Chiodos, their reunion show, and he didn't go, and then Scott went. And, like, that was the night that kind of, like, changed everything for me and Scott and took it from, like, friends to more. And for me, it's, like, that relationship was, like, passionate and intimate, but not, like, in a section. Like, it was, but that's not the point. Like, he provided something for me that I needed, which was, like, physical comfort.
Yeah, I was 600 miles away.
Yeah, and like, I had just gotten, like, my husband had literally just left.
Divorced. Yeah, you needed someone, and I understand that.
Yeah, I was an hour away from my family and friends. I just had gotten this big promotion, so, like, I could afford my own place, but, like, I was all alone. And Scott knew our relationship. He knew Greg, and he played on that, and he kind of planted these seeds that he's going to cheat on you again. Like, why are you going back to him? He's going to do this. And so I cheated on Greg. Like, I didn't even give him a chance to fuck up because I had already done it. And it changed us.
And it sucked for me because I had just gotten out of prison for 2.5 years. And, like, I didn't sleep with anyone when I got out. Like, you were the first person that I was gonna be with, like, that I was with.
And this is the first time Greg...
This is a very meaningful thing to me.
Yeah, it's the first time he was really, like, monogamous and, like, saving himself for someone. Yeah. And, like, that's important because I betrayed that. The day before I moved to South Carolina, like, I didn't want to go. I was supposed to have had my house packed, and I didn't pack anything. And I was upset. I was crushed because I wanted to be with Scott, too, and I couldn't. So I chose Greg. I chose him before I knew that's what I really wanted to do. It was still really hard. So my mom and my sister came up, and Scott didn't help me pack. But they packed me up, and I moved down the next day. And I remember I knew I made the right choice. I always knew I made the right choice.
Yeah.
And, like, I couldn't show this to Greg because I didn't come clean at first.
You called me and told me that...
We had kissed.
Yeah.
And that it had meant something to me, like...
Yeah. Yeah. And I think... Didn't I tell you not to come at first? Wasn't I like...
I did. I waited until I was already halfway through the drive before I told him because I knew he was not going to be happy. But I had to say something before I got there. I chickened out and couldn't tell him that I had slept with someone else.
Of course not.
But he knew.
Yeah, I'm not a moron.
And, like, we were trying to be good, and things were good. Things were good, but then there was, like, this thing in the back of our minds often about, you know... Yeah. And, like, I couldn't cry, I couldn't grieve, I couldn't be emotional, so, like, I would go in the shower, and that's where I could cry.
Emotions, yeah.
Yeah, and we've talked about all of this now, and it's helped, but, like, at the time it sucked, and as a result... You know, I blocked him out. I shut him out.
Everything that we had built before you came down, that relationship that was
good
special.
And new.
It was special. Yeah. And it was a little bit...
I tainted it.
It was tarnished.
Yeah, that's the best way to say it. So, Greg had found a friendship through someone online, and she's a great girl. I actually really love her. But when I was shutting him out and ghosting him, he had someone else too. Like, it's not like...
Yeah, I needed someone too.
Yeah.
2.5 years in prison.
Yeah.
And then to go into a relationship where...
Suddenly the person, you feel like you're not important enough.
I wasn't in that important.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was
brief.
For me, I need, like... It's fun for me to manipulate people, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I like being able to make someone happy, to be the person that makes someone feel special.
He finds, like, broken girls. He attracts. He doesn't find them. Like, you attract, like, broken girls, and you know how to help. You know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I am good with showing people what's good about them. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know, like,
So she lived in New York, and you were in South Carolina, and they never... Well, they didn't meet... We did meet her eventually, like, years later.
Yeah, that was you and I together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a Snapchat relationship. Like, it was definitely, like, emotional cheating. Like, it was...
But...
Too much attention spent on her, not on you.
By July, so this is still 2014, I moved down in May. So Scott and I ended in May, and you kind of... came to the realization on your own prior to our birthdays that you didn't want to continue this thing with Chelsea because what we had was getting better.
Yeah.
And he stopped it on his own before I found out, but then...
Like, she got mad that I...
No, something gave me this weird feeling, and I checked her Twitter. And her Twitter feed from, like, a couple months ago was, like, that feeling when someone tells you they love you for the first time or something. And I was like, bitch, what? And back then, Snapchat had that best friends feature. And I kept being like, why is she your best friend? Like, why isn't it me? Why don't you have a streak with me? Like, why? So I had these signs, and I'm very good at piecing these things together. Like, too good. I should probably be, like, a fucking private investigator. Yeah. I see, like, little red signs, like, red flags.
A while.
Yeah. Well, I was also occupied for a while, you know, like I didn't care,
right,
I wasn't paying attention.
Which is why it happened in the first place.
Yeah. So he ended it with her. We went home for our birthdays. They had a plan to meet up during that trip, but it didn't happen. And I think like maybe a week or two later, I found out about it, and I remember being like, I fucked up. And all I could see is like Scott was right. He cheated, you know, like I couldn't even see the fact that like I cheated. I hurt you. Yeah. I hurt you bad, and I put this like I put a wall between us, and slowly we started to bring it down. You know, when you decided that you didn't want to continue it with her, we were taking those bricks away.
Yeah.
And then I found out about it, and I put the bricks back, and things were okay. I would say they were okay. You know, like Chelsea was out of the picture, Scott was out of the picture. We were going through with life, and like we decided we wanted to have a baby, and I don't know why I ever decided that was a good idea. I am not. I love Emerson.
We're both selfish people.
Emerson has made us better people than we've ever been, but it's hard, and I could never do it without you. I couldn't.
Not me neither.
I'm selfish. I know this about myself too. So at that point, I thought it was a good idea to have a baby. It wasn't like a desperate attempt to fix something
It
or
did
like
feel like a good time.
Yeah,
like
we
things
chose
were
it.
getting good.
I had a good job. You had a good job.
When we decided to get pregnant, you were working where?
At Ryan's.
Were you?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when we chose to have Emerson, you were making more money. And
yeah, I was making like $50,000 there.
Okay, so that's what it was. Okay, now that's what my memory is.
Okay, so we decided to have Emerson, and we tried. I quit my job. We stopped trying. I found out I was pregnant. Like, it went exactly like that. And so I went back and got a receptionist job at this place I had done I worked for like as a temp job earlier. So I was employed again, but I went from $50,000 a year to $12 an hour, and that was a huge cut, huge. And my first trimester, I was exhausted. Like, it just took it out of me. I was so tired. I didn't really struggle with morning sickness. It was more exhaustion and fatigue that first couple of times, like month or whatever, 3 months.
And then
trimester.
You had vertigo.
And I had vertigo, yeah. So prior to that, like I had vertigo for the first time in like November of 2014, and around January or February, I can't do math, I don't know. Emerson was born in November, so when he was conceived, then I started to get vertigo, and then I was pregnant and exhausted, and it was bad. It was just bad.
You were sleeping a lot, you weren't feeling well, and I felt incredibly neglected.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had just, like, the beginning of our relationship was rocky, predicated on lies. That was a problem. You know what I mean? We got to that place where we were getting a little bit better, and things felt good, and then all of a sudden, for me, it just turned back off again.
I wasn't able to, like, help with housework, and if I wanted to do something with him, I just wanted to, like, spend time together, and that wasn't fun. It's not fun to just lay in bed with someone and
someone
snuggle.
who's not feeling well.
Yeah.
You know
so
what I mean?
It basically would have just been like him holding me while I slept. And
which for me, that can be it used to be more frustrating than anything else.
Yeah.
I'm a much more sexual person than you.
Yeah.
It just overall and
well, his aunt recommended this book called The 5 Love Languages. She actually recommended it before the next part of the story happened. And we realized that we communicate love in a different manner. At that point, his first one was acts of service, and his second one was physical touch. And my first one was quality time, and my second one is words of affirmation. So we are completely different. Yeah, it's okay. Sorry. The quality time is the important one, and you do much better. So basically, he shows love in acts of service. So he would make food, clean up after the house, pick things up at the store,
I'm
doing
always
stuff.
Doing something for
and you. Mine is quality time. So when he's doing that stuff, I feel neglected. But
I feel like I'm showing her love
by
the
doing
best
things
way
for
I
me.
can,
Yeah. And then so I want quality time. I just want us to spend time together. And then he feels like
I felt like you weren't appreciating the things I was doing for you because I was doing so much.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, all you wanted was for me to stop doing things and to hang out with you and to spend more time with you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't quite grasp the book.
This is all later realization.
Yeah. I got it. He didn't. And that's because he had already started talking to someone. It's a friend it's a person he met on Instagram and like had been friends with, or like online friends, for a while. At one point, she had an emergency and like might have needed to get rid of her dogs because of her ex. And Greg had, group messaged me and said like, could we take these dogs? I said, yeah. So I thought this girl was, like a neutral
some random
third party. Like, she followed me, I followed her, like, it was nothing. And,
I had found another broken person to fix, or to be able to pour my attention into and get a ton of attention back, a ton of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she also took advantage of the situation and was able to be the person that I couldn't be. So anything that Greg complained about or, told her that I was doing, she could do the opposite or be better. And
also, like,
it was manipulative as
yeah,
fuck.
I only saw what she wanted me to see.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot that goes into an internet relationship that makes it misleading and, like...
It's like social media in general, you get to show the best parts of you.
And I got to do the same thing. Like, I got to, show the best parts of me. I was working out, so I was feeling myself. Like, there was a lot, and it reinforced everything I thought negative about our relationship, and at the same time showed me that there was this other thing that I could
There were
go
other
to
options.
that would be better than what I thought. You know what I mean? That I thought would be better than what I had.
Yeah. And she definitely played it up to appear better than what we were. So my grandmother had a stroke, and I had to fly back to Pennsylvania. And I asked Greg if he wanted to come, and I don't remember why. It was like
I had to work or something.
it was very last minute. Like, it wasn't something, so I went home, and it was, I had plans to, like, do a mud sail with my mom and my grandma, and, it was Mother's Day on Sunday, and Greg drove me to the airport, and got on another plane and flew to Texas.
Yeah.
And we spent most of the weekend. We talked a lot while he was there. So, he was there with Megan. Her name is also Megan. Spelled wrong. Meagan. It is funny. It's funny. It's funny.
I had sent her a Snapchat with the wrong spelling of Megan once. Like, they're...
After I was already aware of her, so like, woo, girl, I was not happy. But, so...
Don't cheat, kids.
Yeah,
it's
don't.
So much effort. And
I found out that weekend because I'm just a fucking detective.
I sent you a picture of our dog.
I missed our
her
dogs.
nails were painted, I think, in the picture, which I didn't notice.
Which I had done months ago. And immediately I knew it. Like, my heart dropped. And I was just like, fuck, where the fuck are you? Like, go home.
I was like, I can't.
I can't.
I gotta fly real far.
Yeah. And I knew right away it was her. Because he had played a Spotify list, and the name on it said Megan.
There came a point when I didn't really care.
Well, no, like...
I did, but I didn't want you to find out.
I was so unaware prior to this trip. So unaware. Prior to leaving, I knew things were getting rough between us, and I was like, do you want to, like, should I leave? Should I go home? Should I not come back? And you said no. You wanted to stay together. And then this weekend happened.
Up till then, I had never met her in person. You know what I mean? Like, I did. There's still a lot of questions about the whole thing.
Yeah. And he had actually talked to Chelsea prior to going, the other girl from, the year before, and she tried to talk him out of it, and he still went. But it sucked. I felt like my whole freaking world just ended. I'm pregnant. I know that I can't have a kid by myself because I'm like, we're better together.
Was it after Chelsea or Megan that you told me that you slept with Scott?
It was after Megan.
That's what I thought.
So I was on the phone with him, and I was just like, yeah, well, I fucked Scott.
I was like, I know, but thanks for telling me.
Yeah. Then I made this ridiculously big Facebook post
Yeah,
telling the world about how grimy he was. Oh, I was angry. I was rightfully angry, too. So then I said, this is when I had asked Jenna to move out because I thought that she knew. I thought that she knew about all of this. And she knew a little bit, but she didn't know all of it. And she didn't know...
And again, all she would have known was that her brother was unhappy. You were the reason, and this other person maybe made me not unhappy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, her viewpoint.
Well, no, Jenna wasn't on your side with the whole thing. But I thought she was. I assumed she would be. She's your sister.
Pretty much everyone around me was like, this is stupid. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was, your brain is not right when, you know what I mean, you think you love someone. And like that initial romantic
that
phase
feeling
makes
is
you do stupid things.
And he was very much addicted to that for a very long time, which is why these me too, though. That's why these things happen. Why you create these relationships with new people so you can get that spark and
that rush. It's a rush. You feel invincible. You feel like you can do anything. You have.
And then when
that's what it feels like.
Add in the fact that you're like manipulating the situation so that you're in control and you get the power, and it is. Yeah. And I knew that. So this girl saw relationships and told Greg constantly that like, love is about passion and excitement, and it's not a choice. You don't have to choose to be happy because that means you're choosing to settle. And for me,
that was a big refrain.
Yeah, that's
never
what she kept saying. Never settle. You're gonna blah blah blah. Like, so.
Do we hope she sees this?
Fuck yes. I will share it with her. I'll send it to her on Instagram.
Hi, Megan.
So I was at my grandma's and broken. Like, it's like 2 a.m. And I'm supposed to fly back to South Carolina the next day by myself. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. Like, we're going home now. I was like, who's with my dogs? Because I kicked Jenna out and he's not there, so where are my dogs? Like, so my mom, bless her heart, got a fucking big ass coffee and drove me to South Carolina, and I cried like the entire time.
Did I get home before you?
No, I got home first, and I got there, and I just remember we laid in bed and cried. And it was weird though, like, as weird as this sounds, like, the whole him cheating also, like, oddly turned me on. Like, it was a weird fucking situation to be in, you know? So, like, I didn't know how to feel. It was like, if I can feel like that, if I can be kind of turned on about it, does that mean that I could possibly one day be okay with it?
Because part of that was what was missing, was, like,
the
physical
sex, yeah.
intimacy was...
We had not had sex for, like, 3 months because I was so freaking fatigued.
And other things, like, you know,
I wasn't putting any time into the relationship. I was not meeting his needs. So, like, I'm never going to sit here and say I deserved it or you were right. But, like, I could have been doing more, too.
Yeah.
We both could have.
Yeah.
And that book that I had read, The 5 Love Languages, that guy, he wrote other books. And I don't know if it was this one. It's, like, I'll include links to the books. He has 3 of them. It's, like, When Sorry Isn't Enough and... about something about fixing things, and in it he said you can't make someone love you. You can beg them to stay and plead and cry, but it's not going to do anything. You cannot make them do anything. What you can do is focus on yourself. So I decided that I wanted to make this work. This is what I wanted. And I focused on being a better version of me. Instead of giving him, like, ultimatums and threatening him and, you know, being a hot mess.
You showed me what I could have.
Yes. I made myself focus on the positive things in life, the things I was grateful for. So I basically, like, I turned off the part of me that would be freaking out and, like, you know, a hot mess in front of you. I still I did that away from him, but, like, I intentionally sacrificed my, like, processing those feelings in the moment so that I could be a good version of me and remind you what you fell in love with.
Exactly, because, yeah.
And I knew that when I started doing that, I really realized how much I had not been doing that before. And this went on for a couple months.
There were many nights of crying and just...
Until, like, all night, no sleeping. And I'm pregnant, and I didn't give up. Like, for a second, before I got back down to South Carolina, I thought about, like, well, what if I move home? What if I have an abortion? Can I have this baby alone? Like, can I do this? And I thought about moving back to Pennsylvania, and I could have done it, and I have family. Like, at that moment, my brain was just like, I want out of all of this. I don't deal with things. I run away.
It's an incredibly fucked up thing for me to do, to put you through this right before we're about to have a baby. Like, it is a horrible thing to do to someone, and never, ever should have happened. And you know what I mean? It's put you in a place that you shouldn't have. What do you mean, can I move home and have it? No, you can't. You know what I mean? Like, that's...
I also, like, my mom helps to bail me out of situations a lot, and I run away from my problems a lot.
Well, and this isn't the first time that I've cheated on you. It's like the 5th.
Yeah. Well, my mom was talking to me, and she said, you know, Megan, I love you, and I think that you made the right choice to go back there. Because at this point, I called her, like, crying, and I was like, please, just come get me. Just, like, let me move home. And she's like, I love you, but I'm not bailing you out of this one. And she's like, married, like, you know, I don't know what dog it is back there, but they're snoring, like, whining almost. So she's like, marriage is tough. She's like, you can't just walk away from these things. Like, too many people do. She's like, I think that you guys can fix this, you know, based off of, like, what she's seen of Greg and I, what she knows about me, what she knows about him, like, and the whole situation. She was just like, you made the right choice going back. She's like, try. And so I made this kind of deal with myself, like, I'm going to give him this much time. I forget what it was. I think it was till July. Yeah. But yeah, it was till July. And I said, so this is May 10th I found out. And he was very, like, he wasn't honest about it, but, like, he didn't hide the fact that he continued talking to her. It was like it's a really fucked up situation. I don't recommend anybody tries to
I thought I had done so much damage that there would be no coming back from it. Like, I truly did not believe that you would ever be able to get over it, that we would ever get back to where we were before all of this, that we would never have a good relationship back. When you started to show me that that would be possible with a lot of work, that, like, here's the ideal, we can work towards this, you know, and once we started working towards it, the ideal, it didn't disappear, but you went back to processing your emotions and, like, us having to deal with it on an interpersonal level. But in the meantime, like, you did do a very good job of being like,
months,
look.
The first few months, I was like, this is what I'm willing to do. Like, this is where I want to get. Like, I'll put in the work if you want to.
I can be what you want.
Yeah, and so I think that by showing you that I was going to work through it even when it was hard, it helped him realize, like, because he could have left. You could have left. You didn't have to come back, honestly. Like, I was surprised that he got on the plane and came back. So around July, I got the impression that she was, like, completely out of the picture, and then she popped back in the picture in August.
It was kind of, I didn't know how to end it, and, like, I will avoid confrontation if at all possible.
Which is funny, considering, but...
Yeah, and it was just knowing that I had to, like, hurt her feelings, and... I mean, that was hard.
I did care about her,
I really did. I wouldn't have flown to fucking Texas if I didn't.
Yeah.
Like, which doesn't make it better. It makes it worse.
Yeah.
But, like, so that was hard for me to do. And what that ended up doing was now I'm just hurting two people. Because I'm not ending it with her.
And you didn't get
and I'm not...
what you wanted out of it. Like, what you thought you wanted out of it.
Right, yeah. It was... In retrospect, man, I'm an idiot. But...
So... In August, I knew. I don't know how I knew. And we had a baby.
My behaviors didn't change as much as you would have expected, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I still set my phone down upside down.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, I was being sneaky.
Yeah. And we had baby monitors set up for the dogs so I could see them when we were at work. I don't know why. It was just something we did. We didn't use it very often, but one day I was like, I turned it on. And it was like 10 minutes before I got off work. And he was on the phone, like on speakerphone, and I heard her, and I sent him a text, and I said, you need to move out. Like, I'll be home soon.
And I was like,
and...
'cause that's not what I wanted. I wanted to be with you. But I guess not enough to end that. Like, I don't know.
I mean, it's hard for you to, like, make that the commitment, and then it's hard for you to say no to people. Like, you don't say no to people often. Like, you know what I mean? You will do things. I will ask you to do stupid shit, and you will just do it, even if you don't want to. Like, if that's your nature.
Yeah.
You don't say no.
Yeah.
And, so I went home, and at this point, you know, I had put on all this work. I had put my feelings aside for so long, and that's hard to do. It feels like...
Yeah, for you,
Yeah, it felt like I was selling myself short for... Like, it really felt like I sold myself short.
You deserved better. You did deserve better, and do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I knew that at the time, and I kept trying to tell myself that, like, it will work out. It will work out. Like, I just have to get through this period of time until we are monogamous again. And I was so proud of myself for not giving ultimatums and not doing any of that stuff, but then this happened, and I was like, no. Like, I will leave, you will leave, like, one of us is leaving after this, and I'm done with it. And he knew I was serious. Like, it's like,
it felt different.
Yeah.
Like, I could just tell. I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't putting my feelings to the side.
And, like, I knew it was too much. Like, it was too much, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Forever before that.
So, he cut her off immediately, like, and I knew it would change, and then all of his behaviors changed, and, like, in the decision to do so, I think the hardest part for you was knowing that, like, it was going to take a lot of work still. Like, even if you said, yes, I want to be with you, and I'm staying with you, and she's gone,
I honestly didn't know if we would ever get to where we are now.
Yeah.
Like, this...
Me neither.
And I had to, at the time, accept that making the decision to stay with you, I may be not unhappy, but... you may be...
It'll hurt.
Yeah, it will hurt hard for a long time. And that I would have to accept that. I would have to deal with the repercussions of my actions for the foreseeable future. Yeah. And that was... when the fresh start is the other option, a fresh start, That's a
It's a hard
tough
choice.
decision.
Yeah.
But I made the right one.
Yeah.
Like, I did.
I'm happy you made the right choice too.
Me too.
So this was August, and then 2015, and then Jenna passed away October 19th, 2015, and that changed everything.
Yeah.
That changed how Greg saw people. That changed how Greg saw life. It's both of us, how we saw life, how we saw love, like the point of everything.
It changed what was important.
And then Emerson was born a month later on November 18th. And the next 3 years were incredibly hard. I hate followed Megan for so long. I went through periods of time where I'd block her, and then I would create fake accounts to follow her, and then I would outright add her on Snapchat and talk to her, and then for a while I made Greg talk to her because I wanted him to hurt her in some way. I wanted to manipulate her and make her think that he liked her so that he could be like, haha, fuck you, like, and that's not fair. I should have never done that. But
payback, though, like, which I understand.
And I think it's because, like, we worked our shit out. We were going through it, but, like, I didn't work anything out with her. I don't have to work anything out with her. I needed to learn how to let it go, and it took me a long time. Mindfulness, you helped me with that. That therapy helped me tremendously, but it was hard. It was hard to let her go, and it's nice. I didn't think I would ever have a day where I didn't think about her or them or like something. Yeah, and I still, for years I thought about her daily. I thought about them having sex. I thought about the details of that. I thought about the messages she would send me, the fucking mean ass posts she would put on Instagram, the shit she would say, and it was gaslighting me. Like, it was making me question my reality. Both of you were, but like
you and I would be working on things and it would get better, and then all of a sudden, like, you would have a particularly like bad time with her and mentally, and we would it would
this
tank
is
us
late,
for a little bit.
like in like 2016, 2017 we'd be okay, and then I would think about her like every time I fell asleep. Like,
I think what made me angry a little harder too.
I think what made me so angry is she knew I was pregnant when she started pursuing it. It's not like she knew that before she started that.
She did.
It's not like you guys were talking and things were going along, and then she found out I was pregnant. Like, she knew.
Yeah.
From the start. And she saw relationships as disposable. Her ex had cheated on her. She thought this was just how life went. Yeah. She's been divorced 2 or 3 times.
3 times, I think.
2. And she thought you were going to be husband number 3. She thought she was going to be the stepmother to my child. Like, she's delusional. And I don't know how she is anymore. I've actually reached a point where I don't care. I don't think about her. I think about her maybe, once every...
couple months.
Yeah.
Month.
And then even then, I don't act on the thoughts. Like, I used to think about her and then go stalk her. And I don't do that anymore. Now I'll think about her and be like, oh yeah, I want to look that up later, and forget. And then, a while will pass, and then I'll think about it again. And then every once in a blue moon, I'll look. But I haven't for a while, and I'm happy that I don't need to.
So much happier for it.
Oh, it was fucking hard to get there. It was hard to forgive her. And it's hard to forgive her because I really don't like her choices. I don't like her outlook on a lot of things in life. Like, she just hurt me intentionally. It's one thing for the other woman to hurt you and not know about you, but to be a side hoe
aware of everything
and intentionally hurt someone and intentionally destroy someone. But
yeah, bud.
This video is super long. I appreciate you guys sticking through. Emerson's home, so we're gonna jump off this real quick.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Yeah, we'll follow up with more. Love you guys. Bye.